There you go.
Hey, welcome back to the Sammun-Mak The Devil's Playhouse commentary. This is for the second episode. I'm Chuck Jordan, season designer.
I'm Andy Hartzell. I wrote this episode and designed it along with Brendan Ferguson.
City has been witness to
Dave Bogan, apparently I direct this episode.
Dennis Lenart, lead cinematic artist.
And Eric Parsons, also a cinematic artist.
So I was kind of nervous going into this project partly because I don't think I was familiar with hardly any of the pop culture detritus that was the that was the inspiration for it. And I know the original plot was much different and was mostly set in the present, and it had only one act that was with Sam and Max's great grandparents in the past. But then I remember one day during the design process, Chuck said, "Which part are you most excited about?" And I said, "The part that's set in the past." And so he was like, "All right, let's make the whole episode about that." And from then on, it got really exciting. It turned out to be like probably my most favorite project I have worked on here.
And for the record, that makes it sound like I had more to do with it than I really did. It was all Andy and Brendan coming up with a train idea, and the whole Murder on the Orient Express angle was just genius.
Yeah, that was the thing that got us going. And originally, it was like Lincoln was going to be there, and Bosco and Mama Bosco's ancestors who were emigrating from the old country with their chicken and their cow, and every possible character we could get into the train. It was going to be a packed train, and of course, that didn't quite happen. But we wound up with the essential characters, and some characters that from past seasons that people were surprised to see again, which was fun. Also, this whole business of playing the game out of order and switching between reels was kind of like about a week into the design. There was this this is the 13th episode of Sammun-Mak. We've got to do something weird and different in order to that will either completely fail or be something that people will talk about. And once we had that in place, then it all sort of clicked. And from then on, it was a lot of fun to work on.
Got to give quick props to Eric for figuring all this stuff out, how to do the whole movie on the wall thing. When he was actually on the project for about 2 months.
That broke the tool?
Yeah, well, there's that too.
We ran out of nodes.
It was awesome, though.
That could have been the 50 scorpions the interns put in. It may have been that.
Yeah, but he was on way earlier than all of us. We were still on episode 1 for a long time, and it was just Eric sort of starting the game.
I just started this project like a month early, and nobody came and bothered me. It was great.
Yeah, there's a lot of just crossing our fingers and hoping that we'd be able to do this business of going in and out of the frame, and he pulled it off.
Yeah, I think it looks really nice. And yes, we did almost break the engine in the process.
We ended up having to do a lot of last-minute Band-Aid emergency stuff to actually get it to run, and we did. So that's the good part.
Now, part of this was just the huge size of our tomb was enormous and really cool, and that was actually our great illustrious leader Kevin Bruner who came in at a certain point and said, "We got to do something here that we couldn't have done. We got to do an environment that we could not have done in previous seasons. Let's give it levels. Let's make it feel really, really big." And Drew DiDomenico built this enormous tomb that was a lot of fun to explore.
And Eric had to.
I believe.
What's that?
I
Oh yeah, that's right. He did too.
Yeah.
Totally sells it.
Yeah.
Did the usher see us?
it's one of the harder things to do to design a giant space like that. You got to keep texture reuse in mind and all that kind of stuff. And how do you fill it up with enough interesting detail and dirt and spit and polish to make it look good while dealing with that size and our limitations? And I think they did a pretty good job.
I'll tell you how. 50 scorpions. That's how you do it.
That got cut out.
Now, Monsieur Paperweight here is his design is based on our own marketing czar Joel, and
Visually,
just visually. Yeah, he's not as evil as Paperweight. But that was also a very early decision. It was like he's got to look like Joel. He can't look like anyone else. And we didn't tell Joel we were designing a character based on him. We had
initially he wasn't very happy. It looked like, but he warmed up to it.
We
Now it's on
had-
his business card.
He made the paperweight face.
That's his favorite character.
Yeah. He dressed up as him for Halloween afterwards.
he did.
I think
Yeah.
before he played the game, he just saw the concept. He was a little
Yeah, well, there
wary.
was this moment where we had him all. Ryan had concepted him out. He had snuck peeks at him. We'd like call him over and point at Joel through, when Joel was in meetings, when you could get a good profile of him. And our producer Franklin at a certain point said, we've got to show this to him. And so we called him over, and there were a bunch of people sort of hovering around. And he said, "What do you think of this character?" And Joel was like, "Well, it's kind of looks like a Peter Lorre type character, and does it remind you of anyone else?" And Joel kind of looked at it and then just kind of went, "Oh no!"
And Joel's got one of those looks on his faces where you can't tell if he's like, yeah, that looks good, or if it's, I can't believe you just did that. I'm gonna kill you in your sleep.
Yeah.
Our mole woman, Melissa Carey. She is
I love her.
I really like this character too. And all of our female characters, we have 3 female characters, which is a huge amount of female characters for Sammun-Mak. And they were they all were really, really hard to cast, and we wound up going with people that we had not really used before. Melissa Carey is a theater actress from the city, from San Francisco, who had been in a show with my partner, and I just kind of dragged her in to audition because we couldn't find someone who could do that gypsy accent. She did a great job.
This is a good example of trying to get our scenes to feel a little bit more dynamic with the camera shake, constant camera shake like you're on a train, and getting that claustrophobic train car feel without ruining the playability of the space. It was a pretty good challenge.
Yeah, there were a lot of challenges in this this game as far as camera angles and playability. And the train was definitely hard.
I think it's really nice contrast between the tomb with so much open space, the shots with just so much air behind it compared to the super claustrophobic train car.
Yeah,
Nice to have them side by side.
That's definitely what we were hoping for. This is Thessaly Lerner with her little chipmunk voice. We were looking for a Katharine Hepburn talk-alike, and again we auditioned all kinds of people, and no one could quite do a young Katharine Hepburn. But then this Thessaly Lerner, who has this natural kind of chipmunk voice, and gave it a little bit of an East Coast draw, and she was perfect.
Well, when Amelia Earhart was in season 2, they did just basically a Katharine Hepburn version of Katharine Hepburn, and I think this does a pretty good, her younger. I think it comes through.
Yeah.
With girlish timidity, Maximus.
It isn't that. It's my psychic aura. It's acting up again, Samus.
All right,
Something
so
within that
someone's
toy
facing
box
me.
is
What's going on?
falling
Oh, this is okay. Is that your is this your chore or is
Yeah.
this yeah. I love the whole wide angle.
What do you
thing.
call that again?
The
Zolly.
The Zolly?
Zolly? Yeah.
The pull focus.
A
Yeah.
zoom and a dollar.
Zoom in a dollar.
Yeah.
Well, what have we
Used
here?
sparingly in episode 1 of Sammun-Mak.
Hey, we haven't
Or
had a
everywhere.
good raiding in
This is Roger Jackson, I believe,
That guy's
doing his Lionel Barrymore from You Can't Take It With You. That's what I said. Yeah, do Lionel Barrymore from You Can't Take It With You, and he immediately started rattling off lines from the movie. So it's great.
I think we keep threatening to do an entire game with just Andrew Chaikin and Roger Jackson.
Oh, awesome.
I think we could do it.
I think it could be done.
Whoa.
Our 2D sequence, and
You said you'd help us
there we
land the
go.
devil's toy box.
Which was also one of the first ideas we had. I was really thrilled with how well
What the gods do
the whole 2D thing was managed. I mean, it really does look like they're on the wall.
Cucumber lengthwise?
And this is where the cucumber cut lengthwise, the
Classic
the
joke.
classic mole humor, which
As a responsible adult, I feel it's my
is
duty
now
to give you
part of the
this.
popular lexicon. And there's our third female character, Rebecca Schweitzer, as the mole girl with the lateral lisp.
She nailed that. It was, because I remember thinking, when they were casting that, they need to find somebody who remembers to do the whole braces lisp. And I heard the audition, I was like, dang, these people are good.
Although the character didn't actually have braces until after she did the voice.
Oh, it's
And we're like,
essential.
oh, she's got to have braces.
Perfect. It's just like Marsha Brady
Yeah.
talking about Desi Arnaz Jr.
I think it was Marshall.
You'll survive.
Or the girl in
Or
Finding
Joan,
Nemo.
Joan Cusack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The cow.
The cow.
The cow returns.
I still support the original version of that puzzle, but I can understand why it was changed.
Ah, yes, the male lactation puzzle. That didn't
Yeah.
quite make it in.
There's
I
a.
still stand firmly against it.
There's
He just refused to chore that male lactation.
Not my contract.
there's strong opinions back. We should have a video game tournament with pro male lactation and against the male lactation.
Sweet.
Just that we support it, not suffer from it.
Some personal business along the way. Yeah. Excuse me.
Oh, I never saw him
vampire
pick up
slushy.
blood.
Yeah, well, he hiccups blood.
I needed something.
Hiccuping blood does that give you a?
Yes, RB. It's time to ask.
No, it's not blood. It's Kool-Aid.
Less than male lactation, though.
It's nail polish.
Yeah.
Protection broken.
Nothing's standing between us and that toy box but air. Come on, buddy. Let's go get it.
This is a little piece of animation that was worked on for a
I think this is
long
where we
time.
came in.
I'm experiencing a newfound sense of respect for our forebears, Sam.
So we've kind of wound our way back to the beginning, or no? We finished
It
reel
did manage to produce a couple
3 of
winners.
4,
You hear that?
2 of 4,
You guys are
whatever.
winners.
We could doctor out the squall of death in a dirty boiler room.
You were talking about that animation taking a long time to do, and I think part of it was
What's that?
we needed to reuse that pose for the skeletons at the beginning and the end, and once they turned into skeletons, the pose wasn't as strong. The silhouette really got lost, and I think that got a little bit of a rework for that reason too.
This
Or I
scene
might be
was.
making that up completely. Maybe.
Yeah.
It sounds cool.
There was someone at least talking about it.
An email went out somewhere.
Don't trust me.
Now this scene got truncated. It was originally much longer. Involved all the characters in the train running down and interacting and fighting. And part of our final scoping process, we cut it down, but we realized we'd cut an essential moment that explained why Samuth and Maximus were enchanted at that time. So there was a lot of how do we explain it? How do we rig back in the moment where they get cursed by Mole Dad, and we finally came up with something that kind of a compromise that everyone.
I think
could-
Max did something really bad to Mole Dad. in the
Mole Dad was
background
just
somewhere.
way in the background, kind of. I think he's trying to curse Jurgen, and it's bouncing. It's missing Jurgen, and it's hitting Sammun-Mak.
And here they are, ladies and gentlemen.
Now we're in
Fresh
the
from the
final
floor of lower Middle
demonic
East,
part
this
of the game, or the most demonic part of the game. This was Maius. Maius' last name.
Uh, Fitzek.
This was his
Germans.
The Germans.
our German guy's big first chance to do a scene all on his own, and he did this. He did a beautifully, incredibly paced, dramatic, climactic scene that made us all very happy.
That's why we made him do most of the rest of the cutscenes.
Yeah, we should definitely mention Myas and Torsten came in to intern from 6 months from Germany, and they
Straight from Jurgen's castle.
straight from Jurgen's. Yeah, there you go, exactly. And on episode 1, we started them off just doing like little sort of random rats and pigeons and stuff in the background, and they ended up giving all these little story moments to rats on bottles and little fights going on and just random things. And
West Side Story as told by rats and pigeons in the streets of New York.
exactly. So we were so impressed by those that we said, let's give them cutscenes for episode 2. And it worked.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Yeah.
It made up for the fact that Dennis was continually denied to us for far too long.
Yeah. There was like 2 months where pretty much every day Andy would come in and go, so when are you starting on episode 2?
And it was always, maybe this afternoon.
Maybe this
or
afternoon.
Maybe tomorrow.
And then more through, or episode 1 fixes would come in.
Creepiest doll in history.
Yes.
I was worried that as soon as you see a ventriloquist doll, they're going to go, hey, it's going to turn evil. So I was impressed they managed to make it clear that it was, or make it feel like an inanimate toy.
Well, that was
Until later.
Until we ultimately succumbed to the cliche.
Yeah, were people on the
It was going
forums
to do cliches. You're just trying to hold out the cliche as long as
I
possible.
appreciate you thinking of us, but we don't do that old world.
No, I think most people just thought it was a toy.
That's
I got a
good.
nice dry
You
cleaning
fooled 'em.
business. And Nefertiti's going to school. For
Dad, I told you. It isn't
Now we wrap up
Nefertiti anymore.
our
It's
mole person story. Originally, though, there were a lot of characters in this episode, more than we really should have been able to get away with. A lot of new characters, and part of it was like these moles were all sold as they look exactly alike, they dress exactly alike. That they're really only one character. And then as the voices came in, and as the characters, each of them was a completely distinct personality. We just kept kind of they
Just pour a
evolved.
little
They
salad
got
dressing on them. Made them look different.
Lessons in how to sneak things by producers.
exactly.
Okay. We'll
But
take
they're
that
all
to
wearing
a
the
test
same
back.
identical smiley face, so
Great.
they're
Keep
for
us
all
posted.
intents and purposes the
You've
same.
got to help us guard it.
Yeah, this episode is insane with like characters and environments. There's just a plethora.
We compromise. Our kids will open an office in the building and help
Which is
keep
good.
an eye on the
People
kids.
dug it.
Yeah, in a way, this was the episode that.
And we're gonna have 3
broke
train
us.
cars, but it's really only 1 train car.
Okay, the train cars all feel like the same thing. We got to make them different.
Yeah, they're all different colors and they're lit
Yeah.
different, and of course they have to be.
When the concepts were all pinned to the bulletin board, I remember there was one morning when Sean Bannerman was just looking at it, and he just said, "How did you get away with this? How do you get so many environments?" And I don't know how we did it.
Whoa, that was cool. I never seen that before.
Yeah,
You know,
and
there's a great
that actually
basement
made
apartment on
people
3rd
sad.
Street, 2 bedrooms,
The characters they had been
dryer.
playing for an entire episode just died.
I think Mike Peretta did a real great job on effects
Mm-hmm.
throughout the season, and each episode just got better and better and more complex.
Skeletons, 4 moldering reels of film, and 1
And they never come back to
buried
life.
toy. A century
Or do they?
Tune in next time.
This whole thing went through a couple of versions too, didn't it?
Yes, it did. We
Cutting
kinda-
some dialogue and changing some staging, and
Yeah, just to make that final cliffhanger really work, really
That
sell.
took longer than expected. The restroom in the train station was closed, so I had to pay.
originally we had that as the very last thing that you see in the game.
Level like a little fiend.
I think at one point.
So
Well, originally it was going to go back to the narrator, and he was gonna finish the episode, and you and Franklin and other people really argued for now the final
We were real
final
mean about
image.
it.
They were terribly mean. That I cried a little bit, and then I agreed with them, and they were right.
What's wrong with you, little buddy?
Well, I think
And it was.
You know, we really felt that the lasting image we wanted to leave with the player was Max's brain is gone, to really tie it together to the next episode. And that's why that whole thing happened, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty strong
Your
image.
hands
Yeah.
and arms inside the vehicle.
I love that.
Especially this part.
Yeah, the weight of the skull is just so real. And that's it.
What happens?
Thanks for
I
being
don't
with
know.
us.